Amara's heart skipped a beat. She didn't need to see who it was. She knew. Mama Chidi was too busy with her eyes closed in prayer to notice. Prophet Jeremiah was shouting at the top of his lungs, still walking in circles around the room, as if the world itself depended on his words. But Amara saw her, and Ngozi walked in, and she wasn't alone. Behind her was a tall man in black suit. Amara recognized him instantly as Barrister Emeka, and Ngozi's husband, a professional, calm man who always carried himself with the quiet authority of someone who had seen it all. And behind him was a young woman, maybe in her 20s, wearing a blazer and carrying a professional camera. Amara could see the press card clipped to her blazer. The three of them walked into the living room like they owned the place, calm, purposeful, and professional. No rush or grand entrance, just skipped a bit. She didn't need to see who it was. She knew. Mama Chidi was too busy with her eyes closed in prayer to notice. Prophet Jeremiah was shouting at the top of his lungs, still walking in circles around the room, as if the world itself depended on his words. But Amara saw her, and Ngozi walked in, and she wasn't alone. Behind her was a tall man in black suit. Amara recognized him instantly as Barrister Emeka, and Ngozi's husband, a professional, calm man who always carried himself with the quiet authority of someone who had seen it all. And behind him was a young woman, maybe in her 20s, wearing a blazer and carrying a professional camera. Amara could see the press card clipped to her blazer. The three of them walked into the living room like they owned the place, calm, purposeful, and professional. No rush or grand entrance, just business. Prophet Jeremiah finally noticed. His voice flattered, and he stopped mid-prayer, his hands still raised, oil dripping onto Amara's hug. Mama Chidi's eyes snapped open in confusion. She had never met Amara's aunt, and Ngozi was not around during their wedding. She only sent her gift, and Ngozi spoke first, her voice calm and controlled. "Good afternoon," she said, her gaze steady, her posture exuding authority. She wasn't shouting, she wasn't angry, but there was power in her presence, in her words. "I'm Barrister Mrs. Ngozi Okafor." And Ngozi continued, pulling out a business card and placing it gently on the center table. "This is my husband and colleague, Barrister Emeka Okafor, and this is our documentation officer, Miss Chinwe Eze." The young woman raised her camera and took a photo. The flash briefly lit up the room. Mama Chidi's mouth opened, but no sound came out. She looked like she had seen a ghost. Prophet Jeremiah was visibly shaking. His confidence cracked. "Who are you people?" he demanded. "Can't you see we are in the middle of prayers?" And Ngozi turned to the prophet, her eyes sharp. "Sir, may I have your full name, please?" He hesitated, glancing around the room. "I'm Prophet Jeremiah." "Prophet Jeremiah what?" And Ngozi asked, her tone as smooth as silk, but with the edge of steel. "What is your surname, sir?" "Eze. My name is Jeremiah Eze." "Thank you, Mr. Eze," and Ngozi said, emphasizing his surname. "And which registered religious organization or church do you represent?" I have my own ministry, Mountain Fire Prophetic Ministry." "Is it registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission?" We are in the process of registering." Prophet Jeremiah stammered, now visibly uncomfortable. "So that's a no." And Ngozi said, she pulled out a small notebook and pen from her bag, calmly scribbling something down. "Do you have a license to practice spiritual counseling in Lagos State?" "License? I don't need a license to do God's work." Prophet Jeremiah shot back, flustered. "Actually, you do." Barrister Emeka spoke for the first time, his voice quiet but firm. "Under the Lagos State Religious Houses Registration Law, any individual claiming to provide spiritual counseling services for monetary compensation must be affiliated with a registered religious organization and must have proper documentation." He pulled out a document from his briefcase, holding it out to the prophet. This is a copy of the law. Would you like to read it? Prophet Jeremiah looked at the document like it might burn him. I didn't. You wearing what? Auntie Ngozi Cotton. Providing spiritual counseling, making diagnostic claims about my client's spiritual state. She gestured towards the spilled oil, the items scattered around the room, and Prophet Jeremiah's briefcase. You weren't conducting what appears to be a paid spiritual service in this home? Mama Chidi finally found her voice. What client? This is my son's house. And Ngozi turned to her, the calm professionalism in her eyes giving way to a flash of steel. Ma, this is my niece's house, my sister's daughter, and you are here harassing her. I'm not harassing anybody. I'm trying to help my son have children. Mama Chidi's voice wavered. By bringing unauthorized persons into her home to make defamatory statements about her character, Auntie Ngozi's voice rose slightly. By allowing this man to make false claims, do you know that's defamation? Do you know that's legally actionable? Barrister Emeka pulled out a file, spreading it on the center table. We have documentation of 3 separate incidents in the past 2 months, he said, his voice steady. 3 unauthorized entries into this residence. 3 different so-called prophets. Multiple defamatory claims made against Mrs. Amara Okonkwo. He continued, laying out documents, affidavits. Even the first prophet claimed she was feeding her husband substances to control his mind. The second claimed she brought generational curses from her family. And this one claims she's under marine covenants. Miss Chinwe was busy taking photos of everything, of oil stains, the items from the prophet's briefcase, and even Prophet Jeremiah's face, which now looked pale with shock. And Ngozi reached into her bag and pulled out a brown envelope, placing it on the center table with a firm tap. This is a pre-litigation notice, she said. It's addressed to you, Mrs. Ogechi Okonkwo, mother of Mr. Chidi Okonkwo. Mama Chidi stared at the envelope like it was a snake, the color draining from her face. If there is one more visit, Auntie Ngozi continued, her voice sharp and clear, one more prophet, one more pastor, one more spiritualist, one more unauthorized entry into this home, one more defamatory statement about my niece's character, her family, or her spiritual state, we will file a comprehensive civil suit against you. You want to take me to court? Mama Chidi's voice trembled. Me? A woman old enough to be your mother? You want to drag me to court like a criminal? You have been treating my niece like a criminal. Auntie Ngozi shot back. You have accused her of witchcraft, of blocking her womb, of feeding her husband substances, of bringing curses. You have humiliated her publicly. You have brought strangers into her home to perform rituals without her consent. You have systematically tried to destroy her marriage and her reputation. Auntie Ngozi took a step closer to Mama Chidi, her voice now icy. So yes, ma, if you continue, we will take you to court. And it will be loud. Channels TV loud. Arise News loud. TVC News loud. Punch newspaper loud. Linda Ikeji loud. Insta blog loud. Every blog and newspaper in Lagos will carry the story of how a mother-in-law has been harassing her son's wife with fake prophets. The room was completely silent. Even Prophet Jeremiah had backed away, trying to head towards the door. But before he could move any further, Barrister Emeka spoke. Before you leave, Mr. Eze, you should know that we have also filed a complaint with the Lagos State Ministry of Home Affairs regarding your unlicensed operations. You may be contacted for questioning. Prophet Jeremiah's eyes widened. I didn't do anything wrong. She paid me to come. He pointed to Mama Chidi, his voice now desperate. So you admit you were paid to make these claims? Auntie Ngozi asked, her voice dripping with disdain. Prophet Jeremiah grabbed his briefcase and without another word ran out of the door. his polished shoes slapping against the pavement as he fled. Miss Chinwe snapped the pictures of him as he bolted. For the first time, Amara could see fear in her mother-in-law's eyes. And it was strange, unsettling feeling. Auntie Ngozi sat down on the sofa where Prophet Jeremiah had been standing, right in the spot where he had been sprinkling oil and making these ridiculous declarations. She crossed her legs with a calm authority that seemed to fill the room. Mama Chidi opened her mouth, but no words came out. Her lips trembled, and Amara could tell she was struggling to find her voice, struggling to keep her composure. Auntie Ngozi looked at Mama Chidi with a piercing gaze, her tone icy. "Ma, we need to have a serious conversation." Mama Chidi's face turned pale. She looked around the room as though searching for something to hold on to, her hands clutching her handbag tightly. "I'm her mother-in-law. I have every right to visit my son's house and bring whoever I want to bring. This is my son's house." "Actually, Ma," Barrister Emeka spoke again, his voice measured and firm. "According to the tenancy agreement for this property, the house is rented in both Mr. Chidi Okonkwo's and Mrs. Amara Okonkwo's name. Joint tenancy, which means both parties have equal rights to the property, and both parties must consent to visitors conducting activities on the premises." Ngozi stepped closer, her gaze hard. "Enough is enough. You don't get to do this to her, not anymore. You have hurt her enough." Mama Chidi opened her mouth but didn't speak. Her pride crumbled before her. Mama Chidi looked at Amara, really looked at her for the first time that evening. It was like something in her finally clicked. Some recognition that she had pushed too far, that she had done too much. Amara had been quiet this whole time, standing to the side, letting her family handle this. "The only thing I am guilty of, Mama, is not getting pregnant as quickly as you wanted. That's my only crime." The silence in the room was heavy. Finally, Mama Chidi picked up her bag. "I will go," she said quietly. She walked to the door, then stopped, turned around, then she left. After she was gone, Auntie Ngozi turned to Amara. "Are you okay?" Amara nodded. Then she started crying. Not sad tears, relief tears, the kind you cry when pressure you have been carrying for too long finally lifts. Auntie Ngozi hugged her. "You should have called me earlier. You hear? Much earlier. Don't ever let anyone treat you like this again, not even family. Thank you, Auntie." After Auntie Ngozi and her team left, Amara cleaned up the house. She mopped the oily stains the prophet had left on the floor. She wiped down the furniture. She opened all the windows to let fresh air in. It felt symbolic somehow, like she was cleaning out more than just oil and perfume. Chidi came home around 7 p.m. He had heard, of course he had heard. His mother had called him crying. He stood in the doorway looking at Amara. She was in the kitchen warming up dinner. "You called a lawyer on my mother," he said. It wasn't a question. Amara turned to face him. "Your mother called 3 prophets on your wife. That's different." "How is it different, Chidi? How?" He didn't have an answer. "She humiliated me," Amara continued. "She's been humiliating me for months, years, and you just watch. You just let it happen. She's my mother, Amara, and I'm your wife." Her voice was louder now. "I'm your wife, Chidi, the woman you chose, the woman you promised to protect and cherish, but you have been letting your mother destroy me piece by piece, and you did nothing. I was only trying to keep the peace by sacrificing me, by letting me be the scapegoat for everything wrong in our lives." Chidi sat down heavily on a chair. He looked tired, defeated. "I didn't know what to do," he said quietly. "She's my mother. You're my wife. I was stuck in the middle." "You weren't stuck in the middle, Chidi. You chose a side. You chose silence. And silence in the face of wrong is still a choice." They didn't talk much that night. Chidi ate his dinner quietly and went to sleep in the guest room. The next few weeks were tense. Mama Chidi didn't call, didn't visit. It was the longest they had gone without hearing from her. Chidi would come home from work, eat, and go to bed. He and Amara were like strangers living in the same house, but slowly things began to shift. One evening, about a month after the incident, Chidi came home with a small package. He placed it on the table in front of Amara. "What's this?" she asked. "Just open it." Inside was a small photo frame. It was a picture from their wedding day, both of them smiling, looking so young and hopeful. "I found it while cleaning my workshop today," Chidi said. "I had forgotten how happy we were." Amara looked at the photo. She remembered that day. She remembered Chidi promising to always stand by her, to protect her, to love her. "I'm sorry," he said. "I've been a terrible husband." Amara didn't say anything. She just waited. "You were right. I chose silence. I let my mother treat you badly because I didn't want to create problems. But I created a bigger problem. I almost lost you. You hurt me, Chidi. I know. And I'm sorry. I should have defended you. I should have told my mother to stop. I should have been a man." They talked that night. Really talked. For the first time in months, they talked about their feelings, their fears, their marriage. Chidi admitted his mother had been in his ear, planting doubts, suggesting things, making him suspicious. She kept saying maybe you didn't really want children, maybe you were doing something to prevent it. After a while, I started believing her. I'm ashamed to say it, but I did. That was what hurt the most, Amara said. That you believed I would do something like that. After everything we bring you together, I know I was wrong, so wrong. They held each other that night, not in a romantic way, just in a we need each other way. Two people trying to find their way back to each other. 3 months passed. Life continued. Amara went to work. Chidi went to his workshop. They were healing slowly. Then Amara started feeling sick in the mornings. At first, she thought it was malaria. She bought anti-malaria drugs and took them. But it continued. One of her colleagues at school, a woman who had 6 children, looked at her one day and smiled. "Amara, when last did you see your period?" Amara counted. Her heart started beating fast. She bought pregnancy test strips on her way home. All 3 showed positive. She sat on the bedroom floor and cried, happy tears this time. When Chidi came home, he showed him the test strips. He looked at them, looked at her, and then he picked her up and spun her around, both of them laughing and crying at the same time. The pregnancy wasn't easy. Amara had morning sickness that lasted all day. She was tired all the time, but she was happy. They were happy. Chidi told the mother after the first trimester. Mama Chidi cried on the phone. "I want to come and see her," she said. Amara wasn't sure if she was ready for that, but Chidi asked her, "Can we try for the baby?" So Mama Chidi came. She knocked on the door this time, waited to be invited in. She brought baby clothes and fruits and a cooler of soup. She sat down in the living room, in the same spot where the prophet had stood, and she looked at Amara. "I am sorry," she said. "I was wrong. I was wicked to you." Amara didn't know what to say. "I wanted grandchildren so badly," Mama Chidi continued. "All my friends were carrying their grandchildren and I had nothing. I became desperate. I became wicked." She was crying now, real tears. "I convinced myself you were the problem, that if Chidi had married that other girl, I would have grandchildren by now. I was wrong, so wrong." Amara let her cry. Sometimes people need to cry to truly understand what they've done. "Can you forgive me?" Mama Chidi asked. Amara thought about it, about all the pain, the humiliation, the tears, about the prophets and the accusations and the public shame. Then she thought about the baby growing inside her, about the future, about breaking circles of bitterness. "Yes, Mama," she said quietly. "I forgive you. It wasn't easy. Forgiveness is never easy, but it was necessary." The baby came 6 months later, a boy. They named him Chukwebuka. God is great. Mama Chidi was at the hospital. She held Amara's hand during the labor, wiping her forehead with a towel, encouraging her. When the baby finally came, when they placed him in Amara's hands, Mama Chidi stood beside the bed and cried again. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for giving me a grandchild. Thank you for forgiving an old foolish woman." Amara let her hold the baby, let her carry her grandchild. Because sometimes you don't win by fighting back with the same weapons they use on you. You win by protecting your peace, knowing when to stand your ground, and knowing when to extend grace. But make no mistake, Amara never forgot. She forgave, but she never forgot. And Mama Chidi never brought another prophet to that house again. For more interesting African folktales and stories like this, please do well to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. There's this subscription is free. It's your way of encouraging us